Hi, it's Richard here from eBroker. Today we're going to have a look at what's involved in building a query within eBroker. What's a query, you might ask? Well, a query is simply a question you ask of the database. Give me all my people who have this, that, and not perhaps the other. A query can be as simple as running a surname search in the F3 screen. So PYK returns all the PICOs. You could search for a particular employer, you could search for a particular occupation, drop this down and search for all your plumbers, or in a larger business, all of the clients who are being looked after by a particular consultant. Beyond the F3 screen here, we can move into more filters, which allows us to go a little deeper. And here we could perhaps search for everybody who's a client who was self-employed. Or perhaps we wanted to have a look at a particular product from a carrier. So let's go and look at all our Sovereign, say Major Care 99s, which are still in force. And that would give us a result of everybody who's a client who's got an in-force Sovereign Major Care 99. Very simple, quite powerful stuff. But what if you wanted to go a bit deeper? What if you wanted, for example, to say, how many people do we have in the database who are clients who we don't have an email for? Okay, outside the scope of either the F3 screen or the more filter screen. So for that, we'd move deeper again into the query builder. So it's available as a tab in the F3 screen. Click on query builder. Depending on if you've been in here before, it may open at the view query window. So simply toggle the view back to here and we will name the query. So let's call it no email. Pretty straightforward. Press the tab key. Do we want to create the new query? Yes, we do. Accept the name. And over on this side, we've got excuse me, all of the various tables that the query builder is looking at or can look at for us to build a query from. So let's start with the member-centric questions first. We'll extend the member details here. We'll come down and we'll say member type, so double click, and that shoots the line into the query builder, and then we'll change the value, drop that down, and we'll choose client. Run the query, so execute the query, and the system returns 3,340 records, obviously far more than we want, so we need to filter that down some more. So we'd go back to the member area, we'd say member status is also equal to client, run the query, and we're down to 634. So at this point, let's introduce the email filter. Now, email obviously belongs to addresses, so extend the member address details. Excuse me, coronavirus. Double click contact method, and we'll now select email and run the query. So we're now down to 367. Now these are people who are clients who do have an email. So that's not what we're after. We're after people who don't have an email. So that's very simple to achieve. We simply change the operator from is equal to doesn't exist. Rerun the query and we're now down to 264. See that we've got some very young people in here. So what we do now is perhaps introduce an age filter. So we go back to member, double click on age. Let's put 21 in there and let's say greater than. So this would give us all the 22-year-olds and up. So we've now got 154 records to work with. Now, so that I'm not giving any more state secrets away than I already have, let's go and we'll put a filter in there and we'll just restrict it to my record. So run the query, and there we have my result, my record, because I've actually deleted my email before I started recording this out of my contact screen. So quite rightly, it's returned my record. Now from here, you can actually, from anybody that ends up in that list, you can toggle from here actually to the client simply by double clicking on the end of the line. So double click and it drives off to my record. And we can see here that there, of course, there is no email. So F3 would take us back. So if we're happy with the results of the query, then we'd save it, and we can then go up and view the query. Start typing no in here, select no email, the query runs, and normally if it was a real query, then we'd have several names in here which you could then work out how you wanted to respond to that. Now, there are a number of ways of either creating a campaign or creating a report from here. Simply by right clicking, that will then give you the report options. So report on everybody. So we could go off and send all of these people, if you're desperate to create a piece of paper, we could send them all off to the member list report, and then you could print that report out, gradually work your way through ringing those people up if that's the most expeditious way of doing things. Or you might want to mount a campaign, and in the absence of you having an email, you could mount it as a call center campaign, or you could perhaps mount it as a Word document, so a mailing campaign, create a personalized letter and a mailing label or an envelope to contact these people. So as you can see, it's quite easy to create or answer a very powerful question by using the Query Builder. So not a bad idea if you're currently in lockdown and you have some time on your hands. Run a query like this, see how many clients you don't have an email address for, and perhaps get on the phone, touch base with them. There'll be business there for sure, and pick up their email addresses. Hope you've enjoyed that. Thanks for listening. Any queries at all, you know where to find us. Thanks again.